Hello and welcome to the Boag World Show, the longest running web design podcast where we look at user experience design, conversion optimization and working in the web. On this week's show, I want to share with you what I'm excited about for 2026, explore a great design pattern catalogue and take a deep dive into what Nielsen Norman Group are going to say about the upcoming year. My name is Paul Boag. Joining me, as always, is Marcus Lillington. Just the two of us today, Marcus.
Yeah, I know, and I'm phoning in from the Maldives.
I could see. It's funny how the Maldives look very much like your office.
Yeah, that's just I took a picture of it. So
it's one of those fake backgrounds.
Yeah. It's a fake background. So if I move too funny, my head will go a bit weird.
Yeah.
Because I won the lottery over Christmas.
That's great.
Yeah, and this is my last show.
Oh, good. So, well, fair enough. I mean, it was great working with you, and it's well deserved.
Yeah,
so you had a good Christmas.
Happy New Year, Paul. Yes, and I had an excellent in between Christmas and New Year. Yeah, just my numbers came up, so that
brilliant.
Was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a good Christmas then. I think people might have possibly worked out we're recording this before Christmas. I don't know, but possibly. In fact, not only are we recording it before Christmas, we're recording it on my, at least, last day of work. So I don't give a shit today. I'm just very much of like, oh, whatever. I've had client emails come in, whatever.
Yeah. I've been like that for the last week, really.
Yeah,
I'm in next week, but I'm doing things like I'm going to edit this podcast.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm going to write a blog post. I say I'm going to write a blog post. Might do.
You might not.
Don't know, really.
You're pretending you're at work, basically. Which is, to be honest, what I do all year. So, really, you doing it for a couple of weeks is fine.
Yeah. So I'm in until Christmas Eve, and then I'm off until 5th of January, I think it is.
Oh, cool.
Or whatever the Monday is.
Yeah, Monday 5th.
That'll be very nice.
Yeah, same as me.
And I'll be full of energy and ready to go for 2026, Paul.
Yes, well, I'm hoping so, because right now I have zero energy and zero motivation. So Christmas better sort me out. So that's my prediction for Christmas, that I'm going to come back in super excited and ready to take over the world. That's my hope.
I'm normally quite keen to come back for one day. It lasts for a day. I'm genuinely, I'm like pleased to see everyone, and I've been like that. I mean, I was like that when I went to school. I'd be like, I'll go back to school, and see my friends that I haven't seen or whatever, and it would last a day, and it's still the same.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know why I'm going, I never wanted to go back to school. That was never a thing for me. School was just always the dreaded. But I mean, let's be honest. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly pretty spoiled anyway. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference between me being at work and not at work in some ways. It's all just dossing around in the house, fiddling around with stuff. Work can get too much, but compared to people who do a proper job, it's really not that hard, is it really?
Well, I'm particularly at this time of the year, I'm always highly sympathetic to the poor people that have to deliver all the parcels.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding.
I mean, because I sort of think to myself, well, I could do that. And for most of the year, I probably could go and deliver Waitrose food parcels to posh old ladies or whatever. But at the moment, can you imagine?
Oh, just awful.
Nowhere to park.
Yeah. Pissing down with rain.
Nice out the window. But yesterday. Can you imagine doing it yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, grim. So you're right. It's a piece of piss, Paul.
Yeah,
I still moan about it though. Because I think you said on what are my hopes for 2026?
Yeah,
to retire is at the top of my list. It's not going to happen, but that's my hope.
Well, my hope for 2026 is I have a little bit more of a boring, predictable year than this year from a business point of view. This year has been crazy. It's like. And not necessarily in a good way. I had, from a revenue point of view, I had an amazing February, I think it was, and March. And then the rest of the year has been awful until this month, right? December is always a dead month. This month it's gone nuts again. And now I'm worried about getting everything done in January. So it's like, can you not just, clients, look, if you're listening to this and thinking about hiring me, can I ask that you all get together and coordinate so you spread it all out nice and evenly through the year, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that'll happen now you've said it.
Well, people are very nice, so they just need to get their shit together and talk to one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this year. I mean, I think we're going to end up not quite breaking even, which is obviously not awful, but it's just it's hardly inspiring, is it? So, there you go. Yes, after to retire, I've written, honestly, that we keep it going. That's another hope for 2026.
We hold our shit together.
A bit better than that would be good. But we've still got these great existing clients, and we've been doing a lot for us anyway of kind of marketing effort over the past 3 or 4 months, which seems to be starting to do a bit, which is good. So if we can make, just get lucky with a few new things, then in theory we'll be back to ticking along nicely. But I don't know. It's just so hard. It's been.
I'm scared. I'm scared about a project that I've got happening in the new year, and I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. Because it's come via Andy Clark, and I'll have to work with him. And I'm not convinced me and Andy Clark are compatible from a work point of view. Well, I love the guy to bits. He's amazing, and we do a podcast with him, and he's a great friend, and all the rest of it. But I think I might wind him up. So we shall see what happens. That'd be fun.
So I did wonder where you were coming from that perspective, because Andy is the typical kind of arty type who will say, in normally quite a sort of cross way, well, just send me an invite or something like that. And you send him an invite and then he doesn't get it and doesn't tell anyone, or he gets it but doesn't see it and then doesn't appear. Yeah. And then you just want to slap him, basically.
But I mean, he's one of the... I mean, he's one of the best designers. I was saying to the client, I would rate, of all the designers I know, right, which is basically, obviously, I know every designer on the internet. So on that basis, he is in the top 2 or 3 designers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. His work is absolutely stunning, and I absolutely love it. But he is very much he would have worked really well in like the 1950s in the Mad Men world. He comes into the room, does something amazing, spouts a load of stuff to justify it, and walks out. Well, I'm Mr. Well, we need to go through this process, and we need to test this, and we need to iterate upon it, and we'll do some A/B
from the
testing.
data.
Yeah, learn from the data and all that boring shit. And I think I'm going to drive him nuts. So it could be the end of our friendship, but it'll be fun finding out.
Okay. Oh, I'm also this year, I'm getting married, so I hope that happens.
Yes. Why? Is there a chance that have you decided that you're not so sure now? No, let's be honest. Has she decided she's not so sure now?
That's where I was coming from on that one, anyway. But no, I don't think so. But
anything could happen. There could be COVID again. Yeah, it's a cheerful thought.
Yes, and I've also hopes 2026 some good news politically would be nice, but I'm not holding out for that. No, that's it, really, Paul. Can we stop now?
Yeah, I suppose we ought to talk about UX-y stuff as well. That's kind of what people expect.
Okay, go on then.
So there was this there was quite a good article by the Nielsen Norman Group called UX Reckoning. What a clickbaity title that was, the UX Reckoning.
He's turned into Mr. Clickbaity. Oh, we're all going to lose our jobs. It's like...
Well, I'm not sure how much Nielsen is actually working for them anymore, because he seems to be releasing everything under something called UX Tigers. I haven't quite been following what's been going on.
But it's all very kind of like, this has happened and watch out because the bad things are going to happen. And it's like, well, might do, but... How do you? And
he's also releasing a lot of video content which seems to have sexy AI women in it, which I find slightly creepy and uncomfortable.
That's weird.
Yeah. and all of these videos are like singing about UX, and I'm going, why do I need this presented in song form?
What?
I mean, Seriously. It's not, the content is good. You know, what he's saying is...
So now we're going to talk about something they've released or he's released.
What I'm going to talk about comes from the Nielsen Norman Group instead, and it's been written by Kate Moran and Sarah Gibbons and various other people in the organisation. And these are kind of switched on people that are doing great stuff. So I'm not in any way... I think that's very different to what Nielsen's doing on LinkedIn. I mean, basically, I get the distinct impression he's kind of semi-retired and he's just messing around with all this new technology and posting it out on LinkedIn. And why not? I mean, fair enough.
That's what you do, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. I can't criticise that, can I? Yeah. Last person to be able to criticise that. But no, this article is quite good, and it talks about preparing for 2025 and beyond is the way it was written. So it's written a little while ago, but I think it's still very
preparing
much...
for 2026 and beyond.
Did I read it wrong? No. It was posted in January of last year. So it's an older article, but actually I think absolutely everything that was written in it could be written for this coming year as well.
Cool.
They just need to update the number and nobody would know, right? I've done that before with articles. I just changed the published dates. Fine. Nobody will know. So I thought we'd go through some of the stuff that the article covered because it's got some good stuff. And I'll go off on one about various other bits and bobs, no doubt, that I think are interesting as well. But he runs through run through some of the problems that are happening in the industry at the moment. And the first one they talk about is that UX is on the chopping block again, which is just as true now as I think it was at the beginning of the year. It's been a difficult time within organisations, and I think we're externally seeing that trickle down a little bit, but I think it's a bigger issue, certainly in the States, and I think there is an increasing number of people that have felt like it's been a very difficult time. But this happens every now and again. We experienced it with the .com bust. You know, we set up Headscape in the middle of the .com bust. You know, it's like, good timing for us, but because we were laid off from .com companies. So, you know, actually, I don't think times like this are bad in some ways, because I'm not saying individually it's not tough. I mean, we've literally just been moaning about lack of work. But on the other hand, I think it makes you focus down and it clears out a lot of the kind of in it for the money people, rather than people that have got a real understanding and passion for the subject. So, and this has happened a lot of times before. Some people, there's a lot of buzz online that, we just need to rebrand it, right? You know, rebrand.
Andrew
UX.
Miller was saying last month that it takes a good crisis for kind of good things to happen, and it's kind of true. And it does. It is true. It's separating the wheat from the chaff. I get
yes.
So
absolutely.
Anyway, carry on, because the next point, which I think you're going to come on to, I don't think I agree.
What, the renaming bit?
Yeah.
About. Oh, right. You think... Well, this is interesting one, right? Because I've seen people say, we need to move away from UX. And so there's now product design. Everybody wants to be a product designer. Or actually, ironically, later in the year, the Nielsen Norman Group says we should call ourselves experience designers now.
Oh, hang on.
Like, that's going to solve it, you know? I don't think that is right. Well, yes and no. I think part of the problem, in my opinion, and I'm not saying the whole problem, but part of the problem is the word design, right? That I think as soon as, if you're a proper designer, fine. If you're a user interface designer, you are designing a visual user interface, absolutely fine. Call yourself a designer. But if you're looking holistically at the user experience, I think design conjures up the wrong word in a lot of people's minds. I think it makes them think about visuals, right? When actually user experience design is about a lot more than that. And I also think design in most business minds is a luxury or a nice to have, because it's not business critical, if that makes sense. But if you talk about conversion optimization, or you look at customer retention, or those are business critical things. You don't chop those, but you do chop design. And that is purely because of a misunderstanding about what they think design is. I'm not saying design isn't what we think it is. I'm just saying that's the perception, and I think that's part of the problem, but not all of it by any means. Why? What were you
though
say?
I think that's probably true, what you just said. I think that designers, or the process of designing things, which isn't necessarily interface design, designing a chair, for example, is something that has a lot of respect, even mystique, even. And I think that's a good thing, but I think possibly that there are too many UX people, they're not designing a process. They're, as we'll come on to, they're, I don't know, just reeling out a process rather than being the people that actually do design things and analyze things and work out how this task I've got to do, how am I going to make it better for people, is design, in my opinion.
Yes, and I would agree, it is. But
so we're kind of agreeing with each other, but I don't want to bin that, is where I'm coming from.
No, and neither do I, really. Yeah. But I think we just need to be careful. You've got to be very careful about the use of the design word because of the misconceptions that exist about it. I would be sad to lose it as well. And I have lost it out of my job title. And I kind of resent that. You know, I still consider myself a designer. But
I see.
I don't get paid as much if I call myself a designer, is the honest truth.
Yeah. I mean, if product design makes sense because it's taking it away from interface design, but it's like, then people think about what you're designing a car or you're designing a box to put Lego in or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why I think it's actually okay. But it's too, I don't know. It's not associated with UX enough.
Yeah, I actually think, I almost think this is a bit of a red herring because, as they say in the article, you know, rebranding doesn't solve the problem anyway. And I don't think it is the fundamental problem that's going on here. I think you nailed it, that the big problem, the real problem, is that there are too many low quality UX people that have been churned out through UX boot camps, you know, and they've done a 6-month UX boot camp and now they're a UX designer because they've got this process to follow and they follow that process come what may. And I'm not criticizing these people because that's how they've been taught and that's what they've been. To some degree, I think this is probably too strong, but I can't help but think a little bit that they've been scammed, that they've been sold this dream of, sign up for a 6-month boot camp and go through this process, we'll learn all this stuff and you'll go out there and you'll get a job. And
well, how many people, there is a parallel here. So how many people go to university to study sound design? Yeah. And I'm going to get a job in a recording studio and all this kind of thing. Yeah. When there are, I don't know, 10 jobs a year.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad, but it's the same sort of thing. Yeah. And it is, scam does feel too strong, but they've been oversold.
Scam is oversold. That's the word. You're right. And so that worries me a little bit. But on the upside, the World Economic Forum that predicts trends in different areas of industry and stuff like that actually place UX design as one of I think it was the 6th fastest growing industry, right? So actually, I think UX as a discipline actually is growing bigger than ever before. And we had Jared Spool on a while back who talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so I just think the problem is what's, the kind of disparity between what's being said online by all of these people that have moved into the sector because they want, they saw a lot of opportunities or were sold a lot of opportunities in it, and are now going, there's no jobs. And so that's creating this atmosphere of doom and gloom, which I don't think is actually realistic of where things are at. I'm not saying things haven't slowed down. They absolutely have. Certainly in my experience, in your experience, in everybody I talk to's experience.
Yeah.
But that's a very different thing. So, anyway, that's that one. Let's move on to the second problem we identified, which is obviously the post-hype AI. The negativity around AI now on something like LinkedIn is phenomenal, right? There is a lot of anger and resentment and talk of AI slop and just general, it's no good for anything, which I just find hilarious. I mean, I posted recently about using AI to help create personas and do online research and things like that.
Did you get slated, Paul?
Oh, I got slated. God, they didn't like that at all. But in my mind, you see, AI is basically, again, it's the oversold thing is what's happened. Just like we were talking about with the US.
It's just a new technology. That's all it is.
Yes. It's just another tool in the arsenal, right? And if you use the tool badly, you're going to get slop and rubbish. And if you use the tool well, it can be helpful, right?
Yeah.
It's no more than that. So anyway, thankfully, I think the good news, which is that we're beginning to get past that AI for AI's sake stage, because there's been a bit of this backlash, which is probably no bad thing.
Yeah.
And so now we're beginning to see some, actual thoughtful integration of AI into different products and services and AI that actually helps solve real user needs, which excellent. I think that's a really good thing. And so really we're going through a very, very typical product life cycle. And again, I've probably said this on the podcast before, but every product, every new technology goes through the same thing, right? First of all, everybody's just blown away that the thing even works, right? Wow, it can do this amazing thing that we couldn't previously do. Then it goes, we're going to add more and more features to that thing to the point that it becomes unusable because it's just, and we're kind of at the end of that now, I would argue.
Yeah.
Then it moves into let's start redesigning it well and making it, a usable thing. You could talk about MP3 players were like that, went through the same cycle. Video recorders went through that. Do you remember when there was all the different functions and features and all this kind of, different ways of doing it? And then you end up with Sky Plus that just press a button and it records, every technology goes through the same cycle and AI is no different.
I'd forgotten about the ridiculously complicated video recorders, the ones where you could kind of like pre-set you wanted to record from this time to that time and all this kind of stuff. And it was all little tiny buttons and a tiny little window. The original ones were great because they just had big, physical analog buttons that you pressed up and down. That was nice.
And you just started it recording and then you stopped it recording and that was it. That was the phase of we're just amazed this technology works.
And it was great.
Yeah. And then they added more and more features to it and made it more and more complicated. And then there was a stage after, so you could manually set all of your times and stuff. And then there was this kind of code or something. There's a brand name for it that would appear in the Radio Times where you would just...
a very faint bell.
Yeah, you would enter some kind of code or something and it would automatically set the time. So that got better.
Yeah.
And then Sky swept in with their, record on demand thing and it all went to a hard drive. So, yeah, it's fascinating how all these products go through the same loop.
And now, I don't know about you, I don't record anything.
No.
Just like...
My parents still do.
Yeah, but because it's there for you if you want to watch it.
When you want to watch
it. Yeah. I mean, live and sport, for example, you kind of want to watch that live anyway. So why would you want to record it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not completely true. But anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Video recorders.
Yeah, video recorders. Wow, we're really aging ourselves, aren't we? We'll be talking about cassette players and vinyl soon.
Vinyl's still lovely, Paul.
Yes, I know. I know proper music lovers love vinyl. I don't quite understand why, but anyway, let's not get into that tangent.
I could go into that one, but I won't.
I'm sure you can. Isn't it? It's got a warmer feel or some bollocks like that I can't hear. Is that right?
Supposedly. And I think brand new. See, I'm going to talk about it very quickly.
That's all right. Go on.
Vinyl on first play, or the first few plays, probably does have a bit more of a kind of, it adds more bass to things, so it kind of makes it feels a bit warmer. But that's not the real reason. The real reason is the big format with all the art and the ceremony of taking it out and putting it on, and that it's just so much nicer than.
It's a better experience.
Exactly.
Bringing it back to what we're talking about.
Yeah, and you have to make a selection. You have to. I want to listen to that. Just that in itself makes it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
but you do it. No, I'm sorry. You have to do that with other songs as well.
No. But if I just want to listen to music on my phone, I can just go play shit, and it'll play shit, and then it knows what I like.
It's not the physical. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But no, the artwork I totally get. I think I miss those big. Beautiful design covers. It was a whole genre of art. Yeah. If Andy Clark was on this show, he'd go on about that for ages because he loves that shit.
And Andy would probably say when I used to roll my joints on it as well. You see how I made that Andy's thing?
Yeah.
Because I never did that.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
No.
Anyway, what are we talking about? So AI. Yeah, so we're moving into that kind of next phase of AI where it will become more and more about the user experience, which I think is great. And so that provides a chance to show our value. And I'm hoping we'll see a bit of that in 2026. We're already seeing that. I'm beginning to work more and more on applications that are AI driven, that've got AI under the hood doing stuff. So that's really good. The other thing that I think was pointed out in this article that I wholeheartedly agree with, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that shallow UX has really been suffering and I think will continue to suffer. So templates, processes, all that kind of just straight, almost production line kind of UX. Really, that's AI can do that now. Right? You're not going to make money or you're not going to succeed in just kind of blindly following a process that, the double diamond and all of that stuff. You're going to, what you're going to need going forward is those human skills like critical thinking, like taste and knowing whether something is good or going in the right direction, navigating messy organizational dynamics, Those are the skills.
Yeah, basically, that's what hire Paul or me. Basically, that's what we're saying here. Because
that's what we specialise in.
We sell
really, that kind of shit.
Messy organisational dynamics. I mean, that's in every proposal we write. You can trust us to deal with the arseholes.
I got contacted by the University of Florida this week. I had a kickoff or an initial sales call with them, and he was trying to explain to me that their organisation is very, very devolved and with a lot of stakeholders and politics. And I went, look, I know. I know. I've worked with over 35 higher education institutions. I know what I'm getting into. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. And so this goes back to the problem with the boot camp graduates and, and I think very, very much we've got to, if you are in that situation, if you are somebody that got taught a very kind of linear process of this is what you do and then that is what you do, it's not that what you've been taught is rubbish by any means, right? Those boot camps taught good stuff. What you need to get into the mindset of is that you don't have a process, have a toolkit. Have a toolkit of different techniques that you use as and when is appropriate. Right? You don't always need to do a discovery phase. Sometimes a quick chat on the phone is enough, right? You don't always need to do journey mapping. Sometimes that's just not appropriate, right? So it's about picking the right tools at the right time would be what I would suggest. But I would argue that I think going forward, and it's that skill to pick the right tool at the right job for the right job, which is I don't think AI is quite as good at now. And so that's where we've really got, a differentiator. But the big one is soft skills, right? AI is going to handle a lot of our grunt work. And so what our job is going to be is relationship building, facilitation skills, empathy, that kind of stuff, not technical ones, not whether you can use Figma well. That really isn't going to matter going forward. So, yeah, there we go. So what can we do about all of this? Well, I've kind of already begun to touch on it, really, that stop worshipping templates and processes. UX is messy, right? You can't box it up the same way on every project every time. And having templates and checklists and processes, they're great. They're a great starting point, but they're not a substitute for thinking. Context is absolutely everything in what we do. And also there's no such thing as best practice. This is the thing that really pisses me off, right? Is, somebody from Facebook or Google comes along and goes, oh, well, this is best practice. You have to do a 6-week discovery phase, and you have to do these user interviews, and you have to do facilitated usability testing with at least 6 people. And, I've written a book on the subject, and just, believe me. All of, yes, that it probably worked great in their situation, in Google, on their project, with their team of people, with their product, with their stakeholders. That was the right solution. But that doesn't mean it's the right solution for your little startup that you're running, or, for a client that has got a third of the budget and massive internal politics to deal with. Context is everything in what we do. Stop ranting.
Yeah, Dave, you can climb down back from the pulpits now, Paul.
Right. So really, I think be very careful, especially going forward, with the things that AI is allowing us to do, that you don't lose the connection with the user. It is still so important that you're speaking and talking to real users, and that you're not doing all of this with online research, surveys, unfacilitated remote testing. And I'll be honest, I'm talking as much to myself as I am to everybody else as well. That it's just so easy. If you could just, just run a survey, or just, get AI to do some research online. It's so tempting to think that that's, enough, but you don't build that connection and that empathy with the audience you're trying to reach. I'm not saying you need to do loads of it, but just try and, talk to 1 or 2 customers and actually see them as real people, I think that's so important. But anyway.
Good to hear, Paul. It's something you've not been talking a lot about over the last year. You've obviously been immersed in AI and what AI can do. So that's a very encouraging conclusion to reach. That mustn't forget about you.
I think you're right. I think I maybe got a bit overexcited about new technology. I always do that. You've known me for long enough, but I did. And also, I've been doing quite a lot with A/B testing, and I've been doing a lot with surveys, and I've begun to catch myself not being. I always think that when you sit down and you write some copy, or you design an interface, you want to be able to picture the person in your head, right? You want to have a feel of who they are and what they would say in that situation and what they would struggle with and that kind of stuff. And I think the more levels of abstraction that you add between you and that person, the harder it is to picture them when you sit down. And so it's still really helpful to actually be able to picture that person, if nothing else. Obviously you'd like to do more than that, but as a minimum, you need to have a person in your mind that you can see, that you can understand, that you've met with, that you've talked with, to help you, to center you. Does that sound a bit pretentious?
Not at all. No, that's it makes a lot of sense. I don't do that when I sit down and write. I just write.
Oh, do you not?
Yeah.
Oh, I always even when I write my newsletters, right? Although again,
but I probably should is where I was going to go with
that. but I've got worse at that as well with my newsletters now, because I'm using AI to help me draft it. I'm focused a lot more on what I want to talk about rather than who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
But I used to literally, sometimes I would sit down. In fact, more than once, I've thought, right, I'm going to write a news. I've got a subject. Who would be interested in this? Marcus would be interested. Okay, I'm going to write this to Marcus today.
Well, that's cool.
And I've done that with quite a lot of people I know. And it really helps, or I find it really helps. So I need to get back into that. The other thing that I'm really excited about the coming year and what you can do about it, I hate this phrase, but I'm going to use it anyway. We need to become more unicorns. In other words, what we really need, let's use the proper word. We need to all become more of generalists. That we need to, where for years and years we've been taught specialize. And for me, as somebody who is very much a generalist, I'm interested in everything, and I can't keep in my lane if I try to. Yeah. Oh, your job looks interesting. Can I interfere with that, please? That's very much my kind of mindset. And for years it was like specialize, and I was always quite embarrassed about being a generalist. But now we're in a world where really we need to get comfortable with wearing multiple hats across UX disciplines, right? And so we're going to be doing maybe some wireframing, some user research, some strategy work, maybe some training around UX. We might even then start looking at adjacent fields, things like marketing or business strategy. Bit data modeling or product management, and understanding all of these different disciplines, so that we're adopting these kind of more hybrid roles using AI to kind of support and deepen our knowledge, when we kind of get to the edge of it. So, for example, I know a little bit, a little bit might be underselling myself a little bit, but a little bit about accessibility, a little bit about SEO. But if you ask me to do a full, SEO audit or a full accessibility audit, I'd be nowhere near as good as a specialist in that area. But with the help of AI, I can now be a bit better. Still not as good as a specialist, but I can be better than I would have been, in those areas. So, I think that's where I think things get quite interesting, and I would encourage people to broaden themselves out a little bit and take interest in stuff that's around you, that's adjacent. All those stakeholders you have on your project, learn a bit about what they do and their disciplines and stuff like that. If nothing else, it'll mean that you'll be able to talk to them better. So that's really valuable as well.
I've got to ask why. I agree with all of that. And generalist, Why is a unicorn a generalist? I don't understand that.
A unicorn, because it's very rare and hard to find.
Oh, I see.
Somebody that's
okay.
got deep
knowledge. It's not literally like unicorns are generalists. It's just that you can't find them. Yeah, okay, right.
It's an American kind of. It's like 10x developers.
Be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
My bloody nose.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's fair.
Again, gets on your nerves, Paul.
Everything gets on my nerves. I do. That's what I need. Yeah. I'll come to the Maldives with you now you've won the lottery. You going to fly me out in your private jet?
No problem. It's on its way.
Wonderful. Good stuff. So the other thing I think about becoming a little bit more of a generalist is to stop focusing on outcomes so much, wireframes, reports, and that kind of stuff. Outputs, should I say. But start focusing more on what the outcomes of a project should be. I try and elevate your thinking a little bit from tactical, where, I'm producing a wireframe, to thinking a little bit more strategically. And I've got a great whole course, free email course on this. If you go to boagworld.com/UX-strategy, and it's like 30 plus emails on how to kind of look a bit higher and more strategically and more holistically, and a little bit less kind of, all right, I'm going to focus on this user interface and moving these elements around and that kind of stuff. So I'd encourage you to do that a little bit. And we're going to just have to be a little bit more adaptable and more flexible in this new world. And I think that's a good thing. All of that excites me personally. And I'm very excited about 2026. I'm optimistic about it. I mean, it helps that I'm an optimist anyway, and also that I love change. So, I get bored if it's all the same. So the chaos at the moment is very appealing to me, but I know that's not everybody. But
I think that's most people aren't that, Paul. But
aren't into chaos?
Correct. They like to know what's happening today and what I'm working on and what the problem is I need to solve and that kind of thing.
I like that. I'm very organised and very structured, but I like opportunities for innovation. Right, the times that I've been most on fire in my career was on the very early days of the web, where it was Wild West. There was all these problems that weren't solved, right? Yeah. Then again, when web standards came along, because suddenly I had to build websites in a completely different way, but the benefits of that were huge. And then I felt again when responsive design came along, we finally got a way of dealing with mobile, and that's really exciting, but that's introducing all these new user interface elements and new ways of, approaching these new problems to solve again. And now I feel like it again with AI, that, that there are some fascinating problems that need solving. Little things like, so when you're like interacting with AI at its most basic level, a chatbot, right? Yeah. So you ask a question in a chatbot, and sometimes it's got to go through these long reams of thinking. It needs to go away and solve the problem. And it still behaves like a piece of software. It's been taught to behave like a piece of software rather than a natural interaction. So, for example, when you give it a task, I'll go away and do some research on X online, right? And it says, something like, I will update, I'll update you when it's done, or I'll send a notification or something like that. It feels wrong because that's not how a person would say. They'd say, sure, I'll get on it and I'll come back to you when I've made some progress or if I've got any questions. And that little difference often leaves you, I've found with myself, sitting in front of it, watching it do this task, because you kind of think it's going to fail at some point, or it's not trustworthy with the task because it hasn't given you the right kind of mental feedback on what's going on. So there are all these little nuances that fascinate me. How are we going to solve all these things? What do we want AI to be? Is the goal to make it feel more human-like, or do we want it to be more software-like? Because a lot of the frustrations people have with AI, sorry, I'm going off on another one today. You've got me on a roll today. A lot of the frustrations people have with AI is, well, it's not very accurate. It hallucinates and all of this kind of stuff. Now, think about what they're saying there, right? That is unacceptable. So we should get humans to do it instead. Hang on a minute. People make shit up all the time. People hallucinate all the time. People misremember things or skip details all the time. You're treating an AI like it's a computer at the moment that should, be like a programmed database that is very accurate, like using a calculator. Okay? Yeah. And so we've still mentally are seeing it as a computer. But if we view it like, as the phrase I always use is an intern, then actually it's a lot more useful. So there's a perception problem there, which is about how we see and interact with the interface. So I'm fascinated by all that shit. So yeah, that's what excites me. You're just sitting there going, I just want to retire. I don't care about any of this.
That's a bit strong, but yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I forgot where this came from, Paul. It was the fact that you like chaos, wasn't it? Yeah. And
Yes.
I don't think most people do. So,
No.
But your wise words still apply, most of them.
I think it's not I'm not expecting everybody to enjoy chaos like me, but I think that you do need, in times like this, there are two ways of approaching it. There's approaching it with fear. Oh, everything's changing. That's scary. I might lose my job. That's difficult. And so you start resisting the thing, whatever the thing is, right? And I remember, web standards where people really railed against building websites with CSS and HTML rather than table-based design, right?
Yeah, that's what they knew.
Because it's what they knew. And it was scary. But it's looking at something instead and seeing the potential and the opportunities in it and how to shape it in a way that you get the most value out of it. If you can adopt that mindset, then I think it gets really exciting personally. But anyway, so there we go. We're pretty much getting there now. The only other thing I wanted to mention was a resource that I found that I really liked. It's a company called, I think it's an agency called If, Projects by If, which is a bit of a weird name, but there we go. We'll allow it. And they've created, and I'll put a link in the show notes to this, but they've created a design patterns catalog. And it's got lots of different kind of user interface approaches to lots of different UI elements that you might want to create. And it's got a particular emphasis actually on things like building trust and through things like transparency and explaining stuff and giving the user control, and addressing things like consent and data sharing thoughtfully. And I really love all of that because, especially going back to the AI conversation, that's going to be increasingly important. And so kind of how you build trust and how you reassure people, not with that kind of, oh, we're going to shove a testimonial on the page and that'll do the job, but actually by baking it into the experience. And I found it because I'm working on a project at the moment, which is a brilliant idea. And it's a tool called Bleat. You can see it at getbleat.com. It's very early days. But basically, the idea is that most people know they should be doing personal branding or, marketing. You would be a great example of this, I know I should do stuff on LinkedIn, but I can't be asked and I never get round to it. And it's a lot of work and who's got the time? So the idea of this tool is that it will take your meetings, because most people these days record their meetings, or a lot of people do with these various AI tools. Then that gets fed in automatically to this system. And we're sharing great advice all the time in our meetings when we're talking clients through stuff, explaining it. It will extract that advice that we've given, tidy it up, using your own words, but, doing a bit of kind of making it sound like a social media update. You go in, review it, and then it will get added to a backlog, and it will just be pushed out to social media. It's a great way of kind of automating your social media. You don't need to come up with ideas. You don't need to write anything. You just need to approve things. Wonderful. But of course, the big problem with it is, hang on a minute, I'm uploading all my client meetings to you with all of that confidential information, and so there's a big kind of trust element in there that we need to solve. So that's what led me to this tool. So you might want to check it out. Really, really interesting, especially around AI, especially around building trust. And yeah, it's really good. Let's see if it's got a short URL I can actually read out. Yeah, you just go to catalog.projectsbyif.com. And it's also beautifully illustrated and all very well explained. It's really kind of a nice little scannable tool. I love it. I've talked a lot today, haven't I?
You have, Paul, but it's fine. It's all been lovely. Are we done for Christmas? I mean, are we done for January?
For January, our first thing of January. Yeah, let's sod off. You got a joke to end with?
I have. The joke is, I dropped a tub of margarine on my foot 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it's not better.
That doesn't even deserve a pity laugh.
I thought I was rather good. So there.
Well, the I can't believe thing has been overdone so much. And also, do they even make I can't believe it's not butter anymore?
I haven't got a clue. I think you're taking this a bit too literally, Paul.
Well, I'm just saying, are people even going to understand this? Or is this a product that was UK specific from the 90s? I mean, basically, you've not considered your users, have you? You've not considered your audience. You know, and
rise
thought
out of you,
through
though,
what
didn't
their
it?
needs are. What?
It got a rise out of you. Another
Everything's getting a rise out of me today.
Yeah.
I'm having one of those days.
Well, Paul, you can go on holiday now.
I can.
No.
Well, I've actually got a couple of emails to do, but pretty much done. So, yes, have a lovely...
Have a lovely January.
Christmas. Have a lovely January. I'm so shit at this. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope you didn't mind me ranting on. Great to talk to you, and we'll speak to you in a month.